off. I don't like this destination. I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off. Electric slide into the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. 1 star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. A music podcast for the culture, Wild Wild Thoughts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wild Wild Thoughts, a podcast from the culture, about the culture. I'm sorry I'm starting this podcast a little down. The Celtics just went up 3-0, and I'm pissed. Just messed up my whole night. I'm not happy. Mars over there smirking.
I'm not smirking.
And we lost Jerry West.
I just asked if you can feel the pressure on LeBron out there.
Well, that pressure was already mounting because we wanted to pass 18 before the Celtics. Like, that's literally since he's been here. We thank him for tying us at 18. But now they about to pass us. Like, we was tied, it was good, but like, yo, we got to pass them. The whole thing is we have to have more chips than the Celtics. And right now, it's looking like they're about to have one more than us, and it's pissing me off.
Yeah, but according to AD, Clutch...
You know why it's pissing me off, Marsh?
What?
Because this team is young, and it ain't like they like at the end of their prime. Like they got like a couple more years that they can come back and do this again.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, according to AD, LeBron, Clutch Sports, Nick Wright, that in-season tournament.
Don't even bring that up right now. You're being funny.
Fuck the Celtics.
You're pissing me off.
Fuck them.
Okay, let me put some positivity in the air. With the passing of Jerry West today, what would you say is his most impactful move as a Laker? His championship, signing Shaq, or the maneuvering to draft Kobe? Which of those three would you say is the most important?
None. No, for real. The most important has to be the Showtime era.
Ooh.
That has to be the most important, because if there's no Showtime era, there's no Shaq wanting to come to LA.
There's no
maneuver for Kobe.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So if he didn't help cultivate the Showtime era, we wouldn't be the dynasty we are today. Because before that, I think the Lakers had won a couple with Jerry West. No, he won one.
No, he won. No.
He lost a bunch of times.
I see how you played Diddy. He came in there and just remixed my question.
Oh, he did one. It was one.
No, I didn't remix your question. I'm literally saying, like, I can't say one of those three are the most important things that Jerry West did, because to me, the most important thing he did to set up the whole franchise was the Showtime era Lakers.
Right.
I feel like if the Lakers are a middling team, if we didn't have Showtime, we would be basically the Clippers going into the 90s and the 2000s. Because that means we hadn't really won a championship since like 78.
Right. So what do you think the Lakers are going to do, especially now, to commemorate everything that he's done? Especially
I think they're going to put I think they'll put a JW on the court for the season. They might put a JW patch on the jerseys or something. And I'm sure they'll have like a big video tribute, maybe like at the start of the season, or I think they'll probably do things like throughout the season to commemorate him, because he was that. Not only was he like that big a deal to the Lakers, he was literally the logo.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that brings me actually to my next part of the question, Mars. Is there any one man
Jordan.
who has impacted the league?
Jordan.
I don't know. More than Jerry West?
Jordan.
How?
Jordan globalized the game.
Not really. Magic and Bird
Nah,
globalized the
it
game.
was it was another
man.
nigga before that. Hold on now.
Magic
We ain't
and
gonna
Bird
hold on.
globalized
Wait.
it.
No,
We ain't gonna leave Dr. J out this bitch.
Oh, yes, we
Well,
are.
Dr. J was big, but Dr. J didn't make it worldwide. But Bird and Magic, the ones who took it from being tape delay. Jordan exploded the game, but so for me, because I know you probably thinking more of a cultural standpoint, right? What Jordan meant, but I'm thinking of the amount of chips this man won as a player, as a GM, because you remember, I don't know if y'all know or remember, he helped put the Clippers, even though they didn't win, but he helped put the Lob City team together. He helped put this Kawhi team together with Paul George, right? And then y'all forgot he was a consultant for the Golden State Warriors. And he told them if they trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love, he was going to quit. So he's essentially even responsible somewhat for that dynasty. So he's touched 1, 2, 3, like 4 dynasties.
4 dynasties, yeah.
He's touched like 4. So he's touched it either. And so you can't say just the Lakers because of what he did for the Golden State Warriors, even because of the legacy. He stopped the Clippers from being the joke of the league. Right. So even though they haven't won, he literally took them out of obscurity and been the joke of the league. So I think his impact is a little more broader than Jordan's because he touched stuff as a player, a GM, a consultant, and he's responsible for 4. What you can say 4 from like what
4 from
5,
State.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 13 for the Lakers.
Yep.
No.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
5 for the Lakers.
Yeah.
No, he's 5.
Not. No, he won
Magic
one as a player. He won one as a player. One as a player.
And Showtime won 5.
5. Oh, 6.
You keep
drafting.
You keep skipping over Showtime.
Right. Right.
You keep skipping over they championships.
So how many rings does he have in total for his entire career?
Let's say if you count the 4 from Golden State, his one as a player, that's 5. 5 from
that's 10.
From Magic from Showtime, that's 10, and then 5 from 15. 5 from the Kobe and Shaq era.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, I didn't think about that.
I'm trying to see right now. Make sure y'all saying
Sheila, right? So she said Dream Team really is the ones who globalized the game, and 100%.
Yeah, but
it was all. It was
12. It was 12.
12.
Yeah.
It was 12.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Dream Team, remember, is like everybody was coming to see Mike. They weren't coming to see Magic and Bird and all that.
That's a lie. Hell no, that's a lie.
Yeah, no.
Bro, you didn't watch that Dream Team documentary.
No.
You didn't watch that Dream Team documentary. Magic was a superstar. Like Jordan was.
That motherfucker was the star of the whole team, nigga.
Yeah, Magic was a rock star over there. Don't be trying to take Magic shit from him, dog, because Jordan's your guy.
Man, you can you can keep that aid.
That's that East Coast bias. You know what I'm saying? That's that East Coast bias right there.
Nah, you can keep that aid. That's okay. I'll let you have that
stupid. But yeah, but like for real, the 92 Dream Team globalized game, but I feel like Jerry West's legacy touched the game in a way that we probably will never see again from a player, GM, and coach, because I forgot he coached as well. So from that standpoint, from what he's done, I don't know if we'll ever see a bigger figure in the game.
Nope.
Because he's like the only guy you can say is like a bigger figure championship wise than like Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson is like top of the mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So RIP to the logo, man. That's the
logo.
He's literally the logo of the NBA. That's a big loss to the league, big loss to just basketball in general. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Bad Boys 4 weekend box office came back, and it looks like they have a hit on their hands. A lot of people were skeptical. They didn't know if Will Smith could come back from the slap. Didn't know if he would ever be able to be a summer blockbuster guy again.
It's Will
It looked
Smith.
like he's done it. He has a couple of detractors, but not many. Like Stephen A. Smith was saying, I think he needs to still talk to black people about why and how he handled Chris Rock, and he still needs to apologize to Chris Rock and all that. And then
It's
there's a
Will
couple of other
Smith.
people. I think Rob Schneider had a problem. He's like, Will Smith is an asshole. He felt like he don't deserve to get back. Let me get y'all thoughts. Do y'all think he deserves to get back? And do you think after Bad Boys now he's officially back?
I don't think he's officially back. I think that situation is always going to come up, but I think he is back to being somewhat of a draw.
But I don't think he ever stopped being a draw.
No, he never stopped, but he's not going to be a draw like he was before.
Yeah, well, maybe not.
Like, I think he'll get like our age group to go see him. But as far as the younger age group, I can't see them saying, "Hey, I want to go see a Will Smith movie."
But his movies ain't really targeting them anyway. You know what I mean? But I think personally, I thought that he was well on his way back with the excuse me, the slave era movie that he made. I forgot the name of it.
I didn't watch it.
It was good though. It was actually a good movie, and he wasn't like the bound and scraping slave. He was more like it was a rebellion story more so than just yes sir, no sir kind of shit. And so I thought of that, but then I never really thought he could be totally out of the game because they own their own film studio. You know what I'm saying? A production company, whatever. So he always had that parachute. He can pick the story, the narratives for the stories that he makes, so he can make sure that he could create a vehicle that will be that slam dunk comeback. I don't think he did Bad Boys, but even if he didn't have a Bad Boys or the slave movie, he could just come up with that irrefutable movie concept and make it and fund it. You know what I'm saying? He ain't broke. So being canceled when you mega rich ain't the same thing as, an up and coming ass actor to me.
Well, I feel like I kind of agree with you, V-Ray. I don't think that he was ever totally out the game, but I think they didn't know if he could still be box office because that Emancipation movie was a good movie, but it wasn't a box office hit. It wasn't a box office smash, and I think it went straight to Apple TV. But it didn't seem to have the impact that you would think a Will Smith movie would have. And then I think I agree with you on the front that he always can pick a movie, but I also feel like the fact that Bad Boys is a trusted and proven brand, I think that's what helped for people to overcome like I don't know if I'm fucking with Will, because there was some people who still was like, I don't know if I'm fucking with Will after this. You seen and heard those grumblings and rumblings, but I think because you pair him with Martin Lawrence, you give him something that's familiar, you give people that nostalgia, and people kind of forgot about it once you go into the theaters. So I think it had to kind of be Bad Boys or like a Men in Black to bring him back as opposed to just like a new IP. Just to help them through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think it really depends on it would really depend on what it was. But I mean, good thing we didn't have to find out because they did Bad Boys and the shit is going well, and and it's proven. But I just believe that if I don't know what the story would be, but if there was some new ass wild ass story with special effects and all the Hollywoodisms and all that shit, and he was at the helm of it, and it was just one of those, nigga, I gotta see this. The trailer's chopped up real nice. You know what I'm saying, and all that. It would draw people out of their seats, and I don't know. But see, my mindset with cancel culture shit is like, somebody that would have the mentality to just can't try to cancel me for some shit that happens in my personal life. I'm not trying to cater to you motherfuckers anyway. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that's worth, I probably live to regret that shit. But it's like who gives a shit if the lady in Mayberry, fucking South Carolina, fucking canceled me and shit. It's like when the motherfucking people were burning up them damn old ass Nikes and shit, protesting Colin Kaepernick, and they were burning up their motherfucking stride rights ass tennis shoes and shit. Like, who gives a fuck that you cancel me because you ain't buying, Jordans or whatever the fuck Colin's brand was, or anyway. So she's like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Canceled, cool.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, I think that you are on something too in regards to like cancel culture, especially with the Will Smith situation, because I feel like that was a little different than like the Me Too stuff. I feel like that was a little different than, people getting caught being racist. I think it was like, because it was on a personal level between him and Chris. I mean, it was in front of the whole world, but I think because on a personal level, people, it felt a little different than those other situations of cancellations. But like you said, I'm glad he was able to have Bad Boys, and I've seen it twice already, and I think it's a damn good movie. I think they did a good job of like what I feel like other movies that came years later, like when they tried to do Coming to America, the sequel.
Yeah.
I feel like where they missed the mark and Bad Boy didn't, the homages were enough to where it didn't feel like the whole movie was just an homage. Because I feel like Coming to America 2 was literally just an homage to the old movie. It wasn't even like its own thing. I feel like Bad Boys 4 and 3 even, but Bad Boys 4 was crafted as it could even be a standalone movie, but it has enough homages where you're like, oh, that's blah 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 from part 1, that's blah 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 from part 2, or oh, this part is kind of alluding to that part, but without all that, the script is still a great script. And they turned in some really good performances. So I think that's where they were able to hit that mark of that balance of, we could have a new movie, because I know, Rex, for you, for example, you from the video game era, so there's action scenes that are literally taken like first person shooters.
Exactly.
Like so
it
the
was
kids
real
who,
good.
like, I know Carmelo Anthony. Go ahead.
Like from the action, and then seeing how they filmed it, it just looked like and feel like you playing a video game, and then just from start to finish, it was just jump off. Like it was a damn good movie.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like they like I said, they figured out a way to mix the old with the new, because some of the camera angles and some of the shots they did, I'm like, oh, that's kind of slick, that's kind of new. For example, like, I don't want to give nothing away, but like when Martin like was falling and then his suit came off and then he was in, like, oh, like that was like some video game shit in real life. You know what I'm saying? So the way they did it, so I thought they did a really good job of like mixing the old way it was shot, because it still felt like a Michael Bay movie with a lot of the new school type thing. So I think they did a good job, and I think Will Smith is back. What do y'all think?
Well,
it's Will Smith.
I'm yet to see it, but I think he's easily back, man.
It's Will Smith, man. Where can you go wrong with Will Smith?
Even if it's starting to get there, starting to ripple into what it was, I think he'll be right back where he was, able to command that 20 mil a movie and be that leading man. The box office draw that he was.
I'm definitely going to see it this weekend.
Me too.
And I think he really was on a rehab. I think he was really on a rehab tour with I have never seen Will do this amount of like press before the movie, like this amount of press junkets, this amount of interviews, getting this kind of burn. Like, he was all over my YouTube algorithm and all over my timeline on Instagram. I'm like, yo, they really had him and Martin out everywhere doing all the interviews, all the big podcasts, all like the Vogue interview that they be doing, like,
and then they did like little
the
short skits with random people too, and then it tied it in, and you see it on everybody else's little random skits that they was doing. Like they advertising the hell out of that movie, man.
Yeah, it's like they
with big internet Instagram stars.
Yep.
It's like they use
the
same publicity company that Black Panther used when they first dropped, because it's that kind of shit where, like, I saw even in some of the screenings that Will Smith stepped out of the curtains when people are walking out of the theater, and you know how they filmed on not Jimmy Kimmel, but I forgot dude's name. That's the host of that from Saturday Night Live. He used to do the Weekend Update.
I know you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a thing where people could come out of the theater and stand in front of this Wakanda screen and say what the movie meant to them, and like under the guise of filming something that old boy would see later. Chadwick Boseman would see later, and he would just step out live and like surprise them, and they go all ape shit. They're doing something like that with Bad Boys. Have you seen that? Where they're walking out of the theater, and he comes up from behind them and says something that freaks him out and stuff. So they're doing those same types of gotcha kind of promos. So it almost looks like the same publicist that did the Wakanda run. The Black Panther junket is either the same people or they're closely imitating what was done with that marketing.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. Like I said, it felt like a really good rehab job because it don't feel forced. It kind of feels organic. You know what I'm saying? So, we got my boy Yucatan joining. Hey, you joined right at the right time. So right now we're talking about Will Smith and Bad Boys 4 coming out. And do you feel like this movie is the one that brought Will Smith back? Do you think he's going to be back in the good graces of black folks in Hollywood after this movie?
I feel like he was already there before this even dropped. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's my answer. Before this, I feel like he was already back in the good graces. So this isn't a determining factor.
So you think any movie he would have dropped this summer, it probably would have been a blockbuster?
I don't know about a blockbuster, because I don't think King Richard was a blockbuster, right?
No, but I think King Richard had.
It was acclaimed.
King Richard was it was critically acclaimed. It was like what would you call an awards darling, in which that's what it was going for.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think it
was meant to be a big blockbuster movie.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like for some reason with Will, even though he's still Will, like everything he does now isn't considered like it's an automatic blockbuster anymore.
Honestly, I'm not sure that he picked projects that were meant to try to be blockbusters. I don't know if they were that ambitious. I think he picked good stories. Like I think King Richard was a strategy during all the social unrest that was going on at the time, if you recall, like all the Black Lives Matter and all the police killings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that was one of those DEI movies, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that the purpose of it was to be a blockbuster, but it was a statement, made. And I think the same thing for Emancipation. It may not have been intended to be like, do these big numbers the first weekend and all this stuff like that. Although I didn't know that it did horribly bad, but I don't think that was a strategy. I think getting him out there, getting his face back out there and having some credible roles that, respectable, credible roles, and not, the slave movie is like, oh shit. No, I hope he's about to do a slave movie out the box, but then it was the type of story that it was, made it a respectable thing. So I think that was the respectability tour, those first couple of movies. Now, Bad Boy is different, definitely, but I'm not sure that was the objective. And nobody checked with me, but I'm just saying that the types of films that they were, I think they seem more like, to get a mind state about where he's at in his career, what kind of shit that, what kind of movies he's doing. If he would have jumped out with Men in Black right away, it might have worked, it might not have worked. That's quirky, silly shit, but he did a couple of serious dramas instead.
Yeah, and I think too, Dame, to also answer your question, like it's different times. So maybe back then, this would be like, yeah, let's see if this next movie is going to get him out of the bad graces or whatever, right? But today, you got your own platform. He got his own Instagram and shit, so he can just talk directly to the people and get out of that light, as can anybody nowadays.
Yeah.
Right.
And his own film company. That's the biggest Instagram you could hope for. Is if he wanted to do a film and try to get, more enamored, he could just do it himself.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I guess the consensus is Will Smith is back or he ain't never left. Now, next, I don't know if y'all know about this story. There was a young lady named Lily Gaddis who was like a Instagram influencer, white girl, and she made a video saying y'all need to stop talking to these broke ass niggas, and she lost her job because of it. But because of that Instagram and her being racist, she has now become like a darling to conservative podcasts and stuff. Like she's saying, like now I'm making more money because y'all branded me a racist, and now I'm making more money because all these podcasts want me on and da 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 da. So my question for that is, to combat that type of shit, should we stop spotlighting when somebody do some racist shit? Should we stop spotlighting it because it seems that it's starting to make people more famous than to give them more harm? So should we stop reposting it like, oh, she said the N-word, you know what I mean? So we stop replatforming these people when they do racist shit? Or do you think we should platform them so they could face some consequences? But even though now the catch-22 is, it seems like sometimes the consequences they can get rich off of it. What's y'all thoughts?
I still think they need to be checked.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I would say they definitely need to be checked, but it's like you said, the racists are gonna rally around that shit, and they will always stick together against us, no matter
And
what.
who the fuck is gonna stop them for real? Let's
Right.
be real.
And it's like, who's really running the country, right? They still holding the power. So it's like, if they want someone to be famous or they want someone to be rich, it's gonna fucking happen. Like we can't we could give our opinion, speak our voice, but at the end of the day, we don't have the power like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. But I mean, you run the risk of, if you don't say anything, then you run the risk of, like, you know what I'm saying, looking like you accept or normalize the shit that they do. Like, nobody's gonna, go through all the trouble of marching or saying this, that, and the third and calling them out on it and shit like that. Then it looks like they get a pass on it, by not saying anything. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But it just seems like it should be called out every single time. Nobody gets a pass on the shit. And even the safe haven that they find when they do find a soft place to land, put their asses on blast too. You know what I'm saying? It's all incorrigible shit. You know what I mean? The person that does it and the person that saves the person that does it are both assholes. So everybody can get it. And whether it has the impact that you want or some side effect to it, it's like you can't let it pass. You can't let somebody take your lunch money one day. They think they can take it every fucking day after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
But, okay.
No, go ahead. Okay.
I was gonna say, just as a collective, like if we were just as Black people, minorities, to just be like, we talk about it behind the scenes, but out to the public, we're not gonna respond to that shit. It's not, then it's dead right there. She's not gonna be famous off that shit, whatever. But because Black trauma and Black trauma and Black drama is the number one fucking source of entertainment in this country, anything we do or say is gonna blow up just that easy. And I think it's part of even just a bigger conversation, which is probably like a whole nother episode. But tell me your thoughts on this. Like, all of our conversations as people, as Black people, is out there. So every race knows about everything we talk about, every problem we have, everything we like, everything we don't like, right? And all the other ones, it's not out there like that. Like, our shit is out on the forefront. What other race is like this?
Well, that comes from a few things, right? So, like you were saying, like Black culture is the biggest commodity in America, probably the world, right? So that means we are the pulse of everything. So everybody pays attention to us and our culture and the conversations we having, like how the fact that Black Twitter became a thing and white people literally was like, what's Black Twitter? Like, because they felt like they weren't a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, so because Black culture is like the hottest commodity, everything we do, every conversation is going to be picked up by them. And the flip side is a lot of other cultures aren't the hot commodity. So those conversations, even if they're being had, they're not going to be picked up at large by the masses because we're the only culture I feel like everybody tries to copy in some form or fashion.
From our
There's
swag, our
you know what I
hair,
mean?
how we dress, our
Yeah,
clothes, like
like we're the only
everything,
culture
nigga,
that
everything.
everybody. So because of that, everybody tries to tap into what we're doing and what we're talking about. Is everybody going to tap into what the young white kids are doing? Not really, because that's not the culture to try to tap into. Like young Asian kids, a lot of their culture is Black culture now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I say I'm talking about like the dancing, this like most of their popular videos will be like
they got
dancing, like,
lowriders in Japan.
yeah. You know what I'm
But
saying?
these
So it's like,
motherfuckers is clean though. Like they way cleaner than ours. Like that shit is crazy.
well, because they
Shit,
take
there's
that shit
trap
way,
music in
way
Asia.
serious. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I think to your point, Yucatan, that's why our conversations seem to be overheard by everybody. And I think a lot of the other conversations don't pick up the same steam because you have somebody like, let's say, for example, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Tate, who got big for like his controversial stuff. But like Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan are probably some of the biggest white podcasters in the world, especially Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan is like supposed to be like top of the food chain, #1 podcaster. Do you feel like Joe Rogan, what he does on his podcast, moves the Black culture at all?
No,
Are
not at
you
all.
even are you even aware of
For
50% of what happens on this show? You know what I'm saying? That you
Right. No, but I feel like, all right. So
And
let's
he's
say,
like, and he's the biggest.
yeah, but so let's say like magically, right? All our conversations are locked between us. No one else can get to anything. What's pop culture?
Dying.
Well, that goes to a whole other conversation. But I agree with you because I asked this question. I think when we were talking about the Kendrick shit, should we start to gatekeep more? Because
Yes.
I feel like we
yes.
like are such a free people. We're such a giving people that sometimes we kind of give away our culture. Like for example, TikTok. Black people invented almost every big TikTok challenge in the last 5 years. But the ones who get invited on Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel shit are the white girls who picked it up, took it, and did it. It's never like the black creator who did it. Like for a specific example, remember the Meg the Stallion Savage Challenge? There was a white girl on Good Morning America. She was on Fallon. She was on all the morning shows doing the Savage dance, teaching it to everybody. But she wasn't even the creator. It was a young black girl who didn't get none of that. So that goes to your point. Like, do you think we should gatekeep more? And if we should gatekeep more, how does that look?
Coming back to Africa. No, I think we should definitely gatekeep more. How does it look? I think that's part of a bigger problem. Like we all got to collectively come together. But this country is so good at separation, you know. So it's like if you ain't separated by race, you separated by Republican and fucking Democrat. You ain't separated by that. One eats meat, one eats vegan. I'm vegan. What's the other one starts with V? I can't remember. But it's so much shit. Yeah, there we go. So it's like it's so much shit, and then when we do as a people have our disagreements, arguments, whatever, it's like everything's on the forefront. There's videos of you got a problem in your marriage, someone's hopping on live to shit on their fucking partner, shit like where do you see these types of shit in other races? Like we give them the fuel for all this shit. So like you said, it's a question of how I think collectively we got to agree to stop doing that type of stuff, and then where do you have the conversations and how do you do it? But I don't see it happening.
Right, because basically it seems like we have it seems that we air our dirty laundry in front of everybody, but I think that's because everybody, like I said, is looking to see what we're doing. Because
Right.
we could probably, I'm sure we could probably find the same conversations about men and women in the brown population, the Latin population, the Indian population, especially the white. Like if we go in a white podcast, especially like I said, at the same time we had Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate was going basically the white version of Kevin Samuels, but we wasn't into that because we don't really care about other, we don't care about that shit, right? We pay attention to us and to our own for the most part, but I don't know. I think it's a real catch-22. But if they're going to commodify our culture too, we do have to find a way to better protect it, because our commodification is what makes so many other people rich. And I'm talking about going all the way back to Elvis and Led Zeppelin. You know what I'm saying? Like commodification of blackness is a real thing. And it's like the biggest export of America. The biggest export of America is black culture. So how do we protect that for us to commodify? Because with it being the biggest export, we are the ones who benefit from it the least. So I think we do have to have bigger conversations around that to figure out how do we gatekeep better? How do we make sure when our stuff is globalized, we can benefit from it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be like we're like the Lakers, right? Whether you love or hate the Lakers, people watch the Lakers. And people probably know who Max Christie is, who's like number 10 on the roster, right? But then you go to the Pistons, I tell you to tell me who's even a sixth man, you have no fucking clue. You probably can't even name 2 starting players. So it's like, how do you get out of that light? And it's like, well, you got to get your team out of the NBA, really, and start your own league.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, like, but even you think about it, anytime there's even a new big platform, the platform that we're on the most is the one that's going to be the biggest. That's the one everybody going to go to. That's one everybody going to follow, right? You look at some of the biggest pages on Instagram that kind of supposed to cater to black people. It's not, if you go look in the comments, it's not just black people, like the Shade Room, Gossip in the City, Spiritual World. Like these are all things that you would think would be very black centric and black specific, but you look in the comments, it ain't just us, and they all trying to tap in on all the stuff that's about us. You understand what I'm saying? Where do you see us tapping in on they stuff, right? Like where do you see us tapping in on, maybe on CNN, or I guess, or like when we tap in on the political shit, but even that ain't theirs, that's ours too, because this is America. You know what I'm saying? But like, where are we tapping in on what's going on in the white culture? Where are we tapping in on, like Joe Rogan saying some wild shit, and we be like, yo, fuck that Joe Rogan. We don't, like, we not.
Yeah,
we don't.
We not, and then also we don't even have the power to. Like we couldn't shut down Joe Rogan if we wanted to, but they could shut down Unk, old tight end. Well, I can't remember his name right now.
Shay.
Sure. They could shut down Shay. They could shut down.
Yeah.
So it's like, they'll allow us to have money. Sadly, like it just goes back to, because we don't own any of this, like they'll allow black people to have money. But one thing they, throughout history, continuing to this day, they refuse to let us really get is power. Because when you lose that power, that's when you really lose shit. So it's like, we had Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? Like we had these areas where we were all together and things were thriving. Blew it up. Literally dropped a bomb. Was it in Philly? Something like that.
That
shit
was
like
Tulsa.
that.
Philly and Oklahoma.
There was one in Philly too.
Tulsa and Philly. Philly.
The cops did one in Philly, right?
The move.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah, that one. So I'm like, they fuck it up and then go back and say, you niggas ain't doing shit.
Yeah, that's all down through history.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to get the type of collaborative mind state that would be a departure from these platforms. I mean, there's that amount of unity is like, I'm not certain that that's going to happen. These platforms are too open. They're free. You know what I mean? It's easy enough to create fake accounts and talk mad shit. Nobody can trace it back. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of of things that messy people find, you know, as their tools to do what the hell they want to do. I mean, there's some good people that are doing good, but you know, the people that are putting this black eye on the culture that you're talking about, you know, that they'd be the last ones to be like, you know what? Yeah, we need to separate from these folks and go do our own thing. Niggas ain't going nowhere, man. They like, you know what I'm saying? They're probably creating a fake account right now to tell me off. You know what I'm saying? We should all get Truth Social accounts when we end the show today, man, and go in and start showing up on some of these other platforms. Now you motherfuckers know how it feels. You know what I'm saying? To be Karen, be a Karen on somebody's shit that ain't got shit to do with you.
Yeah, he's right, man. It's like I always go back to the Kaepernick thing. I was like, the only way Kaepernick would have got back in the league, because it's not owned by us and we had no power, would have been like Tom Brady would have had to say something, and then all would have been forgiven. But because that didn't happen, so just look at the league alone, right? All the black players, what do we make up? 60-70% of NFL. They could have all said, you know what, fuck it. We ain't showing up to shit until y'all do right by Kaepernick. But then you got the variables, right? So you got the guys that's making minimum. You got the guys that got big bank. Are the guys with the big bank willing to spread what they got to make sure everyone's good while we fight for something bigger? And that goes into this country. We're not going to do that shit. Some niggas gonna be like, nah, fuck that. I'm looking out for self. I ain't doing shit. Y'all niggas on your own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then it's like everybody who looked like us ain't for us. You think if we all went somewhere, Candace Owens coming with us? No.
Right. But so that's what I'm saying too. Like even going back to like the Lily Gaddis thing, like we can't get rewarded for acting an ass. They can. Like she's getting rewarded for literally saying I'm racist and I don't give a fuck. And they're like, hell yeah, let's go. We do some shit like that. They like, bro, you are a pariah. And not only they do it, because we are not soulless people, even the black people be like, yo, you fucking tripping. We not rolling with you either. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even have what they have, where it's like the shitty people will back you. Right. The black shitty people ain't gonna back you. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, I think we do, like in regards to what you're saying, we would have to figure out how to gatekeep our shit a little more, and that's the culture overall. Because we were talking about this with even the Juneteenth shit, like how a lot of Juneteenth shit I seen, like they mixing like a lot of Juneteenth is Juneteenth / Pride, but a lot of Pride shit ain't Pride / Juneteenth. It don't go the other way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we don't have our own room even for our own shit in a lot of places, in a lot of spaces. And now Juneteenth is starting, since it's getting bigger now, what's going to happen? It's getting corporatized. You know what I mean? Like our Juneteenth, our little hood festival now is like Walmart is trying to come in and make us bring in Miley Cyrus and shit like that for the headliner type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, again, we can't even gatekeep our shit in Leimert Park. So how the fuck we gonna do it on a bigger? And like today, I was looking up like, so the Kendrick Lamar tickets. You know how everybody was trying to get tickets. The first day, I think they was like $180, and as soon as you logged on, it said like 40,000 people was in the queue. Well, I go on StubHub today. They got them exact same tickets for $650. So now what happens? All the black folks who are real Kendrick fans are now priced out of his show. Mm-hmm. And it fucks up him having a sold out show. You know what I mean? Because if the real people who are his fans would have been able to get them $180 tickets, he would have had a sold out show already. Right. But because like StubHub and all these ticket people bought up so many tickets, who's going to be able to afford those $600 tickets? Who's going to be the rest of that audience now? You know what I mean? So it's like you said, it's so many variables and so many factors involved in this shit. It's kind of discouraging even to just talk about this shit, but I'm glad we're talking about it just to kind of like spark and start the conversation about like, how do we uphold and start to control our cultural narrative? Because that's been the case for I don't know how long, till like you say, they tell us to do our own thing, and when we do our own thing, our shit get commodity. Like, you know, they take it and change it, add a guitar on it, and now it's rock and roll and not the blues. And we don't get credit for it, and none of the dudes who did the blues is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though all the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stole all their damn songs. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
it's
so
that
fucked
thing
up,
over and
bro.
over. Yeah, it's that over and
Oh
over
my
again for us though
god, man.
on so many levels. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just like it's a very real conversation. It's a very, I think, like you said, it probably will take a whole show by itself to even start to unpack how it would look for us to start gatekeeping our stuff a little better. That's my opinion. Anybody else got anything else to say on that?
Yeah. I would say like you touched briefly too, like we would have to have the attitude of like fuck the rest of y'all, but as a people we not like that. Like even if we got the keys, we're not gonna say, well, fuck the other race. Like we're not like that. We're the most accepting people. It's like we just want to live freely to do what we want without being hated on. That's it. We don't give a fuck about none of that. But the ones in power are like, fuck y'all niggas. And we gonna remind you till the fucking day you die. And then when your kids die, and then them kids die, and then we gonna erase the shit we did in the past, like in fucking Florida, I think, in Alabama, where they taking out the slavery parts, the history classes, because it looked bad on them, right?
Texas too. Texas as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, where's the uproar? There was more uproar about Will Smith and fucking Kyrie than that shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they in the textbooks in Texas they changed the term slaves to workers, like niggas like
Right.
Wow.
job interviews and shit.
Yeah.
Got how's your ratio, cotton picking ratio? I'm good, boss. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Niggas had 401ks and health fucking
Yeah,
plans.
exactly. Looking fucking workers. I was like, wow. And when the public protested to that shit, I know we're running out of time, but when the public protested, this was Scholastic Books. This wasn't like the school district of Texas. You know, Scholastic Books that makes the actual textbooks for schools and shit. They had it. They had changed it. And then when people protested, they changed the online version of the book, but they didn't. All the books that they had already put into the school system, they were like, you know, they'll figure it out. They'll tell them. Nah, they'll clarify it. But only online did they make the change. So there's books out there in the school systems right now that don't call slaves slaves.
Crazy.
No recall.
Crazy?
No recall on the books.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And like
Well,
you said,
yeah.
and where was the uproar for that? Like you're literally changing American history because you don't like the way it make you feel, and we the snowflakes.
But the thing about it, though, man, what's so amazing to me is that the people that are coming into power, like these, you know, how they say the Klan is not wearing robes and shit no more. They're wearing pantsuits with butch-built bodies, and you know what I'm saying, three-piece suits and shit like that. So and affecting all this change. So so there's fuck, I lost my point and shit. But I'm just saying that a lot of these changes. Oh, I was going to say they're doing them in broad daylight. They're doing them in public. They're not having secret meetings and doing all the shit. They're redrawing the.
They doing this shit in Congress.
Right, in Congress. I mean, they're doing it at the voting levels. Like they're changing the zones for voting so that the electoral votes get credited differently. You know, the state that has 11 electoral votes. I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass. But say they're evenly divided between the black and the white neighborhoods. They're redrawing the lines where they skirt around the black neighborhoods and make sure that the electoral votes are credited differently to more Republican zones and shit like that. And they're doing it. They have to pass those. That shit has to go before a committee and be approved and all that shit like that. And they're stacking the shit like they did the court systems with Republican judges, where they're making sure that agenda gets pushed through. So they're not hiding this shit. They're not sneaking up on.
Yeah, well, let me give y'all some. Yeah, well, let me give y'all some crazy numbers real quick. So when Trump lost, when Trump won, Trump lost the popular vote by 3 million. When he won, he won and lost by 3 million votes, but because of the Electoral College, he squeaked through, because it ain't like he kicked ass on it, like he squeaked through on the Electoral College, like you said, V-Ray, and they have been continuing to redraw those district lines
right
even for smaller elections, even for more like, your actual representation in your states. So then, like, Trump lost, he had to lose by more than 3 million plus all the electoral shit. So it's almost like it's easier to win as a Republican if people don't vote than it is to win as a Democrat if people actually do vote. Because everybody knows lower voter turnout is always a Republican win. Y'all can look through history. Anytime there's a low voter turnout for the presidential election, the Republicans win. Anytime there's a high turnout for the election, Democrats win. So like somebody was saying, like Biden not really fighting against losing to Trump. He's fighting against losing to the couch. He's fighting against losing to people who like, I just don't like neither one of them, so I ain't gonna vote. And that's where it is. Like to your point, V-Ray, their messaging is so good. They can do all this wild shit. They can stop abortions. They can stop abortions. They can stop contraceptives to women. They can change American history. They can cause slavery workers and still have a shot to win.
Yep.
That shows like how crazy shit is
because they do
in this
that. They have
country
a shot
right
to
now.
win.
Yeah,
It's
because
not
they look out for each
not
other.
and still, in spite of, is because they do that they have a chance to win. There's people who subscribe to that agenda, and they feel empowered when these motherfuckers are in office. So that's why they get so much steam in these elections and shit like that. So it's not in spite of.
Yeah. And you know what, Dave? You should do
Yeah,
an
man.
episode one day asking people what would they do if they were president. Because when we first met, I posted on my Facebook about this shit, about how I thought voting was bullshit, particularly towards the president, because the electorals fuck everything up. And I was like, it's BS. And people went at me. But I'm like, as you just explained, you can win the popular vote and not even win. So it's not whoever they want to win is going to win. But we don't look at the motherfuckers that have lifetime seats in Congress. That gets overlooked. And the president is just like a face to love or hate. But the real work is being done, like you said, behind the scenes.
Well, I think
Well, I'll tell you the craziest mind fuck. Go ahead, V-Ray.
I was just gonna say, I think the part of that, to your point, Yucatan, is that people don't know where the emphasis should lie in elections and shit. I see some
There you
rap
go.
video that says that everybody's focusing on who to vote for president when they really need to make sure that they got the right votes lined up for congressmen, for their local elections, and everything that streams that leads up to the presidency, because the president don't really make laws. He can do executive action kind of
Right.
stuff, but he don't just sit there and say, you know what, abortion, I'm gonna make abortion illegal tomorrow, and it just happens and shit. There's a whole tide that has to happen, and if people aren't educated on that part of the process, they do end up feeling like their votes don't count and shit like that. But if they're not educated on the whole voting process and what it entails, then yeah, they do end up getting the shitty end of the stick.
Yep.
Hey, and so I was about to say too, to add to V-Ray's point, Yucatan, like even when you were talking about voting is bullshit, I have been screaming to the top of the mountaintop as long as I could since the Hillary Clinton election. We focus on the wrong shit when it comes to the presidency. I was telling people, I said, I don't care if I did not like Hillary as candidate. Of course, I thought she was a terrible candidate. I thought she was very elitist. I didn't think she was going to do half the things she was talking about. But I said, what we are voting for is the Supreme Court. And that's what people forget about. Because if we would have won that election, you would have been able to have, we would have had two more liberal judges on the Supreme Court. Now we got a Supreme Court that is more conservative, and that's why all this shit is getting overturned. That's why Roe v. Wade is overturned. That's why they can stop all the contraception to women. That's why they can rule based on religion and not what's actually going on in the country, what's popular in the country. All this stuff ruling against, teaching black studies in schools, that's all from the Supreme Court. And I was like, to me, that was the most important thing, was The Supreme Court, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg pissed me off because when Barack Obama was at the end of his term, he was telling her like, yo, retire so I could appoint somebody else and appoint somebody young to keep our majority in the Supreme Court. She wouldn't do it. So what happened? She died during Trump's presidency. So he got another Supreme Court opening because so it's like the Democrats have made so many missteps in regards to that, but also people don't understand just basic civics. So when they like fuck Joe Biden, I'm like, yeah, cool. But if Trump getting there again, he's gonna appoint like Clarence Thomas is probably gonna retire and he's gonna put somebody 40, 45-year-old MAGA person in there. Marjorie Taylor Greene might be your next Supreme Court judge for the next 40 years because that's some shit that goes until you die. That's not the next 4 years. And I'll be telling people like you kind of got to look at the bigger picture when it comes to that, because the Supreme Court is where the real laws, decisions, and stuff that gets codified into the Constitution gets made. So that's why when people say voting don't matter, I'm like, no, it probably don't matter for the president. You might be right on that the way you think it does, but it does matter when the president is Democrat or Republican, because I'm speaking because we only have a two-party system, y'all. So I'm not saying I'm thinking Democrats are all perfect and shit. I'm saying like literally based on the two-party system we have. If you want to get anything passed for minorities, black folks, you are going to have some liberal judges. And one thing I can say, as soon as Biden got in there, he made a black woman a Supreme Court judge. Trump ain't doing that. And if he do, it's going to be Candace Owens. Just to give y'all.
Yeah. Candace or fucking Owens. Ben Carson.
Yeah. Ben Carson going to be taking Clarence Thomas' place. Perfect replacement, or Tim Scott or something like that. You know what I mean? Some kind of so I just want people to look at it from that arena as well, right? Because that's the bigger picture that I think we as black folks miss a lot of times, because black folks are like, Trump gave us money. No, he didn't. Congress gave you money. But Trump was smart because he's a marketing genius. He didn't let them checks go out. He said, y'all can't send them checks out till y'all put my name on it, Donald Trump name on the checks. And it worked. Because so many people really think that Donald Trump, even though he tried to stop the checks, he tried to stop those relief checks. And then when they got through Congress, he was like, all right, cool, we'll put my name on it. So he still found a way to get the credit. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild. And that's all I was saying about it. I was like, strictly for the presidency, I think voting is stupid because of the electoral.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, people don't research all the other shit. They just look at Trump gave me $1,400 and that made that's half of what I make a year. And like, y'all niggas just, it's sad out here. It's sad. And then now I'm seeing a whole lot more black people talking about, and I'm not either way. I'm like, look, whether you want to, I had a lot of conversations with people. I'm like, it's not about Trump politically. I'm arguing morals. But people keep responding with political facts. And it's like, when you have a motherfucker who's blankly,
it's easy to hide your racism behind politics.
Yeah.
So of course you can't say I want him because he's gonna stop the Mexicans from coming. You can't say I want him because he's gonna, make sure that black people get stopped and frisked all the time. They can't say that, but they're gonna say it's policy.
Right.
They'll use phrases like protect the border.
Yeah.
Protect the border. Make Mexico pay for the wall.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Which is code for fuck the Mexicans.
Yeah. Nigga called COVID a Chinese flu. I'm like, he's just blatantly saying the shit, and y'all still like, well, he gave me $1,400, so
there you go.
Insane.
And there you not like dead ass. There you go. And that's where it is. All right, well, we didn't get to the WNBA. I guess we'll push that to next week, because that's probably going to be a whole show within itself, because I got a whole lot to say about this WNBA narrative shit that's happening and what's going on. So we'll push that to next week, and the Super Duper group will push to the next week. But anybody got any last words before we go? Hey, this was a great show. I didn't think it was going to go here, but hey, that's what we do right here on WyldeWylde Thoughts, for the culture and about the culture. And that's what today was about. Anybody got any last words before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm good.
Nah, think we good.
Come on, Rob, take it home,
Man.
Take it home with one of Rob's randos.
No, I need next week to get here fast, because I need that Kendrick concert in my life.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be front.
All right, y'all. Well, everybody. I want to thank all my co-hosts today. I want to thank Rex. I want to thank Mars. I want to thank Yucatan. I want to thank V-Ray and everybody who's been watching. Everybody in the comments. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week. WyldeWylde Thoughts. Let's keep it going. And if y'all got anything y'all want to talk about, because like Yucatan, I think I want to do that. I want to do that. Like, what would you do if you was president? I think that would make for a great show if I made a post about it and we took those comments and started, did a show about it. So that's a great idea. So we'll probably do that next week. So join us next week on WyldeWylde Thoughts when we see what the fuck you would do when you was the president. All right, y'all.
Stop the world, let me off. I don't like this destination. I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off. Electric slide to the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when